admirable human beings, and I'm certain good citizens for whatever nation in which you live.
You're just doing way too much. You're doing way too much. No, you're doing way too much. Welcome back to the Sunrise Lounge. Thanks for coming back to the channel. We've got a lot of new subscribers since the last couple of videos, so welcome to all the new subscribers. And y'all are in the middle of season 3, the new pioneers. We're talking about enlightened solutions for modern problems this season. Today, we've got a problem. You have a problem, we have a problem. What do cynicism, minimalism, anxiety, and mental exhaustion all have to do with each other? They're all part of the same ecosystem of things happening up here in our heads and emotionally as well. And here's the problem. We've got way too much going on. You have way too much going on. You gotta bring it way down, way down. But how do we do that? What's the right mind frame? What's the right mindset to bring it down to a level where we can really be our true selves, but still survive in today's culture? Look, it's a hustle culture in the United States, in Western civilization. If you haven't caught up on our last couple episodes, you'll definitely want to go check those out for some background and some lead up to this. But today, the solution we're going to talk about might actually surprise you. Do I spoil it now? Do I tell them now? It's cynicism. Cynicism. Wait, did he say cynicism? See, the modern conception of cynicism is someone that's always negative. I mean, you can picture the person in your head. Think about it. If you think someone is a cynic, picture in your head, they're always negative, they're toxic, they downplay everything. They may be kind of like that, well, actually kind of person, or just absolutely shame anybody that's giving any effort. That's the modern connotation of cynicism. But the original classic version of cynicism from way back in ancient Greece, when that philosophy was started by a guy named Diogenes or Antisthenes, depending on who you think of. It's all the eases guys, basically. Cynicism started as a way to combat all the craziness that was happening, even societally 2,000 years ago, let alone now. And it really applies super well to today's culture. There really should be a little bit of cynicism in every single one of us. We're going to talk about how can we apply certain aspects of cynicism into a minimalist mindset that helps us figure out all this crazy stuff that's going on. How can we dial it back? How can we slow it down? How can we be happier? Do less, be happier. We're going to talk about it today. So let's get to work. Now, the past couple videos, I noticed in our comments section that there were some comments about probably way too many camera angle changes. And I got to admit, I discovered something absolutely new and exciting and probably got carried away a little bit. So I do want to let you know that going forward, I like to listen to my people in the Sunrise Lounge. So we're going to adjust the content editing style going forward. I just have to let you know that I am not going to do nearly as many camera angles as we did in the previous videos. I promise. But let's get to a real quick history lesson on cynicism. And we're not going to hit everything. This is not a video about the cynic philosophy, but there are a few key philosophies inside that system of thought that are going to help us figure out what sunrise minimalism is, what this minimalism is that can help us do less and be happier all at the same time and quiet that social noise. Listen, we're all exhausted. We are all super tired of everything that's going on right now. If you're watching this video right now, chances are good you saw the title or the thumbnail and were either morbidly curious or genuinely were like, yeah, okay, I'll take a listen and see what's going on. Or maybe you're a Sunrise subscriber and supporter and you've hit the like button and YouTube suggests this kind of content to you. So go ahead and hit the like button because that helps the channel grow if you're a supporter. And if you're kind of just checking it out and trying to feel it out, it also helps YouTube recommend other content like this to you from other channels too. So it really helps out your YouTube experience. It's free. There's no reason not to do it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Like, sub, just, it works. Okay. Cynicism. Why cynicism? First of all, what is it? Where did it come from? And why does it work for us today? And that's a good question because the word cynicism and the idea of someone being a cynic has some pretty negative connotations to it today. And for good reason, because how we see a cynical human today is someone that's constantly toxic. Even if they see people doing good things, they always assume that there's some negative or self-serving or evil or insidious connotation underneath of it or ulterior motive. But here's the big issue with cynicism as it sits today. If you call someone a cynic, it's a person who's constantly pointing out flaws, but not actually providing any value or producing any solution to the conversation. And we need a solution. That's why you clicked on this video. That's why we're making the video. It's a big, important conversation for our mental health and our happiness going forward in our lives. We want to do less and be happier. Here's the cool thing. Cynicism is about doing less. See, cynicism actually works for today because the original intent of cynicism was to highlight the ridiculousness of human constructs and social expectations and social norms. Even back in ancient Greece, when society was still crazy, nothing's changed. Now, where the name come from, which is really cool, because everyone loves a good floof. He's cute, right? And I made him. The term cynicism comes from the Greek word kainikos, which is literally dog. And people were calling cynics dogs literally because of the way they chose to live. They lived with absolutely no restraints, no personal baggage. In fact, the main dude behind the philosophy of original cynicism, a guy named Diogenes, heard about him a little bit earlier. He literally led his life with just a staff, an old hooded cloak, a bag, and then lived in like this massive kind of like wine vat pottery thing that he could move around if he wanted to. And even he considered that to be too much, right? So they lived like dogs in the sense also that they would just do their business in public, whether that was self-gratification.
Get off my lawn.
Or just relieving themselves. They didn't care what society said. They just kind of lived freely like a dog would. So they started using the term kainikos, and it eventually caught on to cynic or cynicism. And well, here we are. So there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into the cynic philosophy, but really the most important things that we need to adopt for today that make cynicism the solution for today is really minimalism. We're taking the theory of cynics saying, we don't need all this crazy stuff. We don't need all this socialization, all this stuff in society, all the cultural norms, all this stuff that's going on that people say you have to do, the expectations of behavior. We're trimming all of that out, completely deleting all of that and settling into a hyper minimalism. And another really positive sidebar to cynicism is the fact that they don't trust a lot that's going on. They're kind of skeptical, and they're very related to the old skeptics that we talked about in our last episode. So right up here. But honestly, Sunrise Lounge, the most positive solution that the cynic mentality can provide you today in our culture today is that it crushes the evolutionary need to be part of a group or the safety of groupthink. So there was a study done in 2005 at Emory University where they studied the mental activity of people making decisions compared to a control group in the experiment. The control group would intentionally talk the group into choosing the wrong answers on these questions that they were provided. And then the experiment group, it wasn't that they were trying to actively decide to do things with the group so they didn't stand out. Their brain was subconsciously changing the way they perceived the issue to align with what the group was saying and agreeing upon, even though they actually actively knew and could decide cognitively that the answer was wrong. They subconsciously started to perceive the answer as correct because it's that evolutionary ingrained DNA level need for staying with the group for safety and survival. Cynicism helps us delete that groupthink mentality and avoid that subconscious perception so we can actually get about evaluating and analyzing our lives properly, evaluating our society and where we stand in culture properly, and really helps us lean into the minimalism that is the solution to doing less and being happy. Listen, we all want peace of mind. We all want to settle down and downshift. We've all been exhausted mentally by everything that's going on socially, politically, culturally, social media, our home life. But it comes down to more than just, I'm working multiple jobs to make ends meet. What we're really talking about with this minimalism here is specifically you individually as a human being. Let me ask you this. Do you really need more stuff? Think about that thing you could buy right now. Chances are pretty slim to essentially none that you're going to be buying something that's life-changing in the next 5 to 10 years. If even that timeline, do you really need that extra thing? There's not anything out there. But if you want a solution for right now, the minimalism we're talking about that can be impactful right now, let's talk about, do you need another social media app? How many social media apps or accounts do you need? And actually, I'm actually kind of curious. So like, put this down in the comments. How many social media apps or accounts do you have? If you actually dare to put that number in there and kind of out yourself, I'm curious to see. So put it down in the comments. I want to talk about it. I want to see. I'll actually put down and go through an actual list of everything I have on my phone and let you all know how much I have too. But think about this. Do you really need that many accounts? Do you need that much social media? Are you really staying that connected to people, or is it just bombarding you and crushing everything in your life with all this information and just this overload of stimulation and activity? And it's not really helping anything when it comes to your mental health, your well-being, or the people around you. I mean, look, the ultimate downfall that we're seeing right now and what's contributing to this crazy amount of instability emotionally and mentally for us is what I call diffusion theory. It is super simple. It's not supposed to be super psychological or scientific. It's literally you're diffusing yourself into way, way too many things. And what we're doing is it's the ultimate chase for happiness. It's the ultimate chase for more. We think that more is going to get us more happiness, more experiences, more ways to connect with people, more sources of information, more money to spend, more things to have, when really we should be drawing back from that perversion of the American dream and thinking about how can we still be happy, but do less? And I argue from the Sunrise Lounge perspective that you're not going to be happy until you do less. So let's talk about doing less. Oh, sidebar, it's not talking about like this Henry David Thoreau Walden Pond level, or like our guy Nietzsche living on a mountaintop wilderness by yourself with absolutely nothing but like a cot and a writing table and some vegetables and a garden outside. We're talking about real legitimate modern minimalism that actually fits into your life instead of you going crazy and just going off the grid. It's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about being mountain men. So here is the core idea. This is what you've waited for. And maybe you even scrubbed ahead of the YouTube video thinking, hey, this is where I'm going to just get to the point. Well, here we are. Here's the core idea of Sunrise Minimalism and our solution to doing less and being happier, to having some peace of mind, to having some gratification and involvement, but also feeling fulfilled and feeling like a whole person again. It's time to downshift. It's time to settle down a little bit. And here's how you do it. True minimalism, from our perspective, is not reductive. We're not creating an empty room. It's a concentration. Real minimalism that's going to help you be happier is creating a neutron star. And for the science nerds out there that like that reference, you're welcome. For those of you that don't know, it's one of the most dense, packed things in the universe. It's like 72,000 times smaller than our sun and our solar system, but it's infinitely more dense. Which is probably someone get an astrophysicist in the comments and like correct me on how wrong I am. All right, now here it is, Sunrise Lounge. True minimalism isn't reductive. It's not creating an empty room. It's a concentration and a consolidation of all of our energies, all of our emotions, all of our mental focus, all of our efforts, right? So Sunrise minimalism is not a lack of substance or this living by just the base necessities like they did back in Greece. The original Cynics with just a bag and a cloak and a walking stick. It's a consolidation and a concentration of ourselves, of our whole being into a smaller space. So you're not losing anything of yourself. What you're doing is concentrating it into a space where there is less to do, but you're giving more of yourself to it. So by not being reductive, you're actually adding to the quality of your life and the quality of your mental health and your emotional health and the quality of your life and experience overall, because you're putting more into less, not just reducing everything down to absolutely nothing. I mean, imagine this: when you're at work, your boss or whoever, you maybe work for yourself, gets the absolute best of you. Your children or dependents or whatever get the absolute best and most engaged you. Your hobbies and your pursuits and your passions, whatever projects you're doing or that vacation you're taking gets your absolute closest attention. I mean, your partner, think about your wife or your husband, best friend, roommate, whoever you have like that intimate relationship with, they get a vibrant, real you instead of just a face that's illuminated artificially by a smartphone screen. You give life a human being, not a ghost. That's Sunrise Lounge minimalism. I mean, look at this. How many more pictures do you need in your phone? Right? Like, you spend so much time taking the shot or videoing it. And while you're experiencing that moment through that camera or kind of on the side, you're not really fully focused on enjoying mindfully everything that's going on with that moment, because there is a part of you that's distracted by making sure you get the shot. And let's be honest, how many of y'all are actually going back and thumbing through your gallery of pictures and videos once you've either posted them to social media, looked at them once and thought, that's a good shot, group text, done? The ultimate core method of doing less and being happier is giving your life a human and not a ghost. You're not reducing yourself to nothing and living with nothing. You're not simplifying things for the sake of emptying your room. You're concentrating yourself and giving your best efforts, your best imagination, and your best focus to the things that really matter ultimately at the end of the day. And that's it, Sunrise Lounge. It's a crisp salute and a firm handshake from the captain. Thank you all for watching this far. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. If you got something out of it, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. And if you got this far, you obviously just hate watched this far if you hated everything in the content. So thanks for getting this far, whichever way you made it here. But leave me a comment on the comment section and tell me what you hated so much about it, and we'll chop it up. We'll talk about it. Before we go, dad advice: find one less thing to do. Simplify your life in one way, even if it's small, over the span of the next month. Let's see what happens. Start minimalizing, start doing the Cynic thing, do less, be happier. Be on the lookout. If you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can see when new content comes out. We update the channel every couple of weeks with more. We are in season 3, The New Pioneers. And that is it. We are done and dusted. But before you close out the video, make sure you check out some of the suggested videos right here at the end. You're going to see in a couple seconds. Pull up your hood. Stay smart, and I'll see you on the next one.